Dr. B here with Mentally Strong and interviewing our nominee from the Women's Chamber. Very specifically, they said she is a remarkable human being that is mentally strong in all types of situations. She brings calm to chaos, which is hard to do, pretty impressive. Overcoming obstacles and challenges, as well as the ability to embrace unique ways of innovating and adapting to consistently changing environment. Which,
wow.
how does that
We
feel?
live in that. Yeah. It's so humbling. I'm not a person who's on the front lines. Most of what I do is behind. So to have someone say that is really just touching. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the things that you do, and maybe you think that why they nominated you.
Yeah, so I work a lot with helping women, especially businesses, show up to deal with the pace and complexity of change. How do you show up internally resourced to deal with how fast it's all moving and how hard it is? And probably some of that passion comes from my own story. About 10 years ago, I came home from work. I was in a really great job, living the dream. And my husband and my son were sitting at the table and they said, "We need to talk to you." And I said, "Oh, okay, great." And they said, "We love you, but you're not present anymore. You ask us, you come home and say, 'Oh, how was your day?' And then 30 minutes later, you're saying, 'How was your day?' And you're just not there." And I think we've gotten caught up in this model of success that causes suffering, not only for ourselves, but our families and those around us. So I got really passionate then. I started doing some work in emotional intelligence, and I found out
we do a little bit of that here.
I was getting some training in it because I was really intrigued by it. And the guy said, "You have amazing stress tolerance." And I said, "Thank you." And he said, "No." No, that's not good. You'll be like that frog in the boiling pot that doesn't know when to jump out because it's so gradual. And I looked around and I thought, I'm not able to maintain this pace anymore.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Because I think our culture believes that mental strength is that. I can handle anything.
Yeah.
And you learned that that's actually not a good thing.
I did, and we all go through trauma in life, and all of us have our story. But I think what happened in my case is I became mentally strong, but I lost my vulnerability. And so sometimes when I hear resilience or mental strength, I bristle a little bit because you need enough of it to get through. But if you have too much of it, you lose touch with yourself and your feelings. And I think that's a journey I'm really passionate about. I'm definitely still working through it because how do you walk that fine line of I allow myself to feel because that's where your wisdom comes from when you lean into it. And I think a lot of times we just want to problem solve for people. We see their pain and we feel it.
We want to
You
fix
probably
it.
know that.
Yes.
In your
Well,
line of work.
and I talk a lot about mental strength as a journey for a lifetime. It is not I am mentally strong. You got to kind of wake up every day and say, I'm choosing to be mentally strong today. But that doesn't mean this rigid, holding your breath through your trials. It's adapting and learning that, like, knowing yourself. You have to have insight to really be truly confident. You can portray confidence and you can portray strength, but to be truly confident and strong, you have to have insight and insight into the people around you and the people that love you. And so it sounds like your family really confronted you that day, and it changed your life.
I think I had built up this wall, and you assume your family's always there for you and you understand, but they're equally as important as anything else. And
did you change careers at that time too, or what happened?
I did eventually. Not at that time. I really started the journey of understanding myself, why I do the things that I do. I kind of went down the path of mindfulness and conscious business and really figuring out how do we live and work differently that recognizes our humanity, because where I worked we were always talking about human capital and all of this, and it's like, no, these are human beings. what is happening to us,
right,
you know?
Right, wow.
And I think it's not anyone's bad intention. We've just slipped into a model sometimes. I had 12 departments at that time. People were struggling with relationship issues and health issues, and I thought, we've really lost our connection.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all in the business of helping students, and you know, we had counseling and mental health and rec center and all these different areas, and I thought, we're kind of unwell people working in wellness. And everyone's trying because they're so passionate about the work, right? And so it was kind of like, that was a big aha moment. And then also thinking, it's not our role sometimes to fix people, it's to be with them in their difficult place, because there's wisdom in their tears and in their journey, and we try to take all that away and help them feel better sometimes. And it's really trying to lean into that. I'm still wrapping my mind around it, and it is a daily.
Did you start your own business? Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
So my business is called Read Level, and I have a logo. It's kind of like standing in the eye of the hurricane. There's this storm going on around you, but that space is really calm. And it's just the power of being able to observe what's going on around you and resource to engage with it. Because there's this saying that most things that happen are neutral, it's the meaning we assign to it. And I think that's kind of profound. It's not things that happen to us aren't hard, or you're not victimized by things, but you decide what it means, how long you're going to suffer, how long you're going to grieve, if it's going to ruin your life or it's going to lead you to your life's work. And I'm just like in awe and humbled by all of it. Like everyone's journey, just listening to their story. I learned
it was, I think we're really in line with what we're trying to do here at Mentally Strong. And that's why I tell my story. I've heard over and over again people say, you know, losing a child, you're done. You're emotionally and mentally done, and it's hard. I'm not saying I don't cry. I mean, there's lots of turmoil that goes on in my heart from losing a child, but I am okay, and I have chosen to perceive it as my journey and my purpose, and I've chosen to believe in a spiritual realm that I will be able to see him again. And so I'm tearing up on your story.
Well, something you said touched me so much when I was listening to your story. You said, I was still choosing to have joy. And we always think if we feel horrible, we can't feel good. And it's like, you can feel both. You can deeply feel both. And that moved me so much, like something went on. When
you have to feel that horrible feeling. You have to feel the pain. And I think that's what's hard. People think mental strength is not feeling that pain. But it's actually being able to embrace both.
Well, and there's always something that's going to blow through and re-level. That's my company. Kind of, you know, level everything. But it's sort of like you're saying, there's an opportunity in that. Like fall is coming. Some things need to fall away in autumn. You know, what wants to die and become like the fertilizer for what's next. And that's always hard. We grieve what we lost, like COVID, right? So much.
So is your company like a coaching company? Are you coaching other women? Oh, okay.
So I have coaching in there. I work on companies with strategy. A lot of times they want to re-level. It's not working anymore. We don't know what we want to do. We've lost our purpose.
God, okay,
so it's realignment with purpose. I
like
organizations.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Anything else you'd like to tell the listeners of, you know, most of our listeners are people who, you know, maybe are struggling, or they're professionals working with other people struggling.
I did a project because I was really interested in women and confidence, because I perceive a lot of women have confidence, and I wanted to know, we learn so many skills and abilities, right? But if you don't believe in your own ability to execute on that knowledge, you just keep learning things. And so a lot of women, including me on my journey, you rack up degrees and certifications, but you have to at some point believe that you can do it. And so what I learned, I interviewed 100 women. We just get together for dinners. And everyone at that dinner would recommend the next group of women to come. So I didn't know most of them. From ages like 14 to 82. And the thing I really walked away with is it's so fleeting. No one ever maintains confidence no matter who they are. Their walk of life. And so I think what I'd really like to say about it, I mean, one woman in her 80s said, really what I want is to love myself when I die. That's what...
Right. I think women struggle with that from very, very young, really loving themselves.
I agree. And asking for help and all of those things that help you find that. And I found that women just were hungry for conversation. And that it wasn't about solving the confidence question. It was really about getting together and discussing our stories. So thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, this has been great, and we'll definitely put your company info down at the bottom of the YouTube, and you'll be able to share it. So make sure you give that to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Great story.